student Chris was here earlier this week. We went through his lesson. Judy, that was actually from a week or two ago, but it was one of the things we put up this week. It is, wait, back up! It's Friday, April 11th. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, that hot tune, Man's Fate tune. It's a great song of Jorma's. That I got to tell you a little bit more about Chris, because I know you guys appreciate probably seeing him tackle some of these complicated songs. His lesson last week, no, it was just this week. I said, hey, what haven't we looked at for like a few months or something like that? And I said, oh man, I haven't heard you play Man's Fate. And he looks at me like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. I haven't thought about that or whatever. And he knocked it out like it was no big deal. I don't think I had the camera running, but anyway, Scott, appreciate your comments on our teenage prodigy, and he's doing great. Actually, I'll probably see him this week. Something really interesting is going on here tomorrow night. Well, we'll see. But one of my students said, "Hey, nobody ever gets to play in front of anybody." I said, yeah, you're right. About 15 years ago, I used to get my students together sometimes once every few months, and they would just play in front of each other. So I think 5 or 6 of them are coming out tomorrow, including Sandy, Ed, and Fred, and Chris, and a few others that don't grace the TG airwaves or wave bandwidth. Anyway, looking forward to it though. I just want to give you a quick rundown of what happened this week, and I got a few things I want to talk about. This movie I saw that everybody has to see. Of course, Dan already gave us the info on it a few weeks ago, but it came through our neighborhood, and okay, I'll save the enthusiasm on that for a little bit later. And I will talk about inversions or interval and inversions, inversions of intervals that Wiley brought up on the forum. So a few things there, and I might play a little bit of stuff. I gotta not do this. Oh, stop. Okay, I'm working on a piece that is going to be a lesson that has been heavily requested for a long time, and I am getting closer to being able to do it. Thankfully, oh my God, thank one of my longest and dearest friends, John Dimmick, classical guitarist extraordinaire, who's unfortunately having a problem with some nerve problem in his finger, maybe trigger finger, but he's working on trying to get that solved, because I would love for him to be able to play the guitar again and be able to share some of his brilliance with you. So, as a matter of fact, he was really helpful in me putting this arrangement together. So he has his own arrangement that is really beautiful too. I think it's a little short. He may not have done the whole modulating section. I'm not sure. But that's what I want to talk about. Let's see. That's enough about John and the world of classical guitar, I think, for now. What else has been going on here? Oh, let's see. Here's what came out. What we finished up this week. We finished up with Jesu. I think we got the last part of my John Renbourn reminiscences out there. And although that may have happened earlier last week, I'm still a little, I guess, off balance from the whole situation. So let's see. The other stuff that we had though were the Fly on the Wall with Chris playing Judy, and thanks, Matt, for introducing me to a great artist, with some great songs, and that is Pete Murray, of course, Opportunity. It's been a long time since I put together, it's funny, because a lesson that short, it's like under a 10-minute lesson, I think, but it, I really had to decide what I was going to do to try to compress it into just that short amount of time. Usually I have free reign to just ramble on for as long as, it's enough. And what else? Oh, and then Vanessa. Let me think about this. Oh boy, this should have been planned. course, the song doesn't sound much like that, but that was just a nice little, the cool chord progression of Sarah McLachlan's, and really want to thank Vanessa and Karina for putting together a lesson on Angel. Maybe this wasn't coincidental. Maybe Sandy knew this was happening, but Sandy and I worked on it a little bit during her lesson this week, which I also didn't have the camera running for, but never mind. So we decided to, so I want to thank Vanessa and Karina for putting that together. That's what we saw Friday. Okay, last couple things I want to talk about are the Wrecking Crew. Man, it will be out on DVD and Blu-ray in June, but I was afraid this was one of those things that was never going to see the light of day. But luckily, Nani and I and my sister and her husband went and watched it in Santa Cruz last week. Oh, it was last Friday. I probably mentioned that on the news last week that I was heading out to it. Absolutely stunning. If you haven't seen it, do. If you have, well, Larry called me yesterday because I told him about it and he hadn't heard that much about it, and it was playing just around the corner from his house, which we didn't know anyway at the time when we booked to go see it in Santa Cruz, which this is a big complaint, having to go to Santa Cruz to watch a movie. Well, okay, it was really nice over there. And anyhow, so Larry called me yesterday and said, "Oh my God, I can't believe it, man!" And that just about slipped through the cracks. I'm so glad you told me about it at his lesson. He says, "Matter of fact, I want to stay there and watch it again." It says, but it was the last showing here in San Jose area, at least. I'm sure it's in Palo Alto or maybe San Francisco or wherever. But just the background of these guys, hearing them talk, sitting around the table, Tommy Tedesco, Carol Kay, Hal Blaine, and then what Brian Wilson had to say about them, what they had to say about Brian Wilson, and they just played on everything that came out of Southern California for about a 15-year span, from the early 60s until the mid-70s, and all those big hits that you think wow, I didn't know the guys in the Association were that good, or Sonny and Cher sure had a great band. They were all the same band. It was the Wrecking Crew. So, heavily recommend it. Gotta just go see it. I don't need to talk much more about it. Let's talk about intervals a little bit. Because the confusing thing about interval, or one thing you have to understand about intervals, is it's just the distance between two notes. That's the first thing. But if you switch the octaves, if you change the higher one to lower or the lower one to higher, inverting it, you get a different interval, because you still typically measure intervals from the lower note up to the higher note. So if we're talking about going from C, let's not use C. Let's use A flat. Let's use A. If you're talking about starting on A and going up a certain distance, let's say a sixth, that would mean to the sixth note of the A scale. I'll give you a second to process that. And start going through your A scale, think about what the sharps might be, and by the time you get to the sixth letter, there's a couple things that might click here very quickly. One is, okay, the sixth letter from A is F. In the key of A, there are three sharps, F sharp. Oh, so it's F sharp. Now you could also have just gone through the scale, thinking A, whole step to 2, B, whole step to 3, C sharp, half step to 4, D, whole step to 5, E, and a whole step to 6, F sharp. So A to F sharp is a sixth, and because it's the sixth that occurs in the major scale, we call that a major sixth. If it was a half step less, it would be a minor sixth. But if the F sharp, if we want to think of A down to F sharp, we'd be working, we'd either want to think about it's not down a sixth, it's down the inversion of a sixth, which would be a third, from A down to F sharp, because A would be a third from F sharp. And if an interval was major in primary shape, when you invert it, it becomes minor. So F sharp to A would only be 3 half steps, hence it would be a minor third. So we could think of F sharp as being a minor third below A, or a major sixth, get that tongue working, a major sixth above A. You wouldn't want to think of a minor third or any kind of third down without saying below. So now take a different example. D, a fifth from D would be A. So fifth note of the D scale. If I want to know what the A would be below, I work my way down from D, C sharp, B, A, and I feel like, okay, it's a fourth. So from A to D is a fourth there. So a fifth above and a fourth below are the same, or are inversions of each other. Okay, I probably just added all kinds of confusion to this discussion. I should just shut up and play, like they say on all my YouTube videos. Oh, you've already heard that one. Let's see. What could I play that nobody's heard in a while? The thing with this song, I'm gonna go out on a limb here. It's got prescribed parts. Now we kind of jam. We kind of build up the tension with this B and C power chords with all the open strings. Maybe we dress it up a little bit. And now we have our main chorus, E minor to G in the bass, F, and B7. Ooh, I should practice this lick coming up. This could be bad. Let me try it. I'll get it next time. Now it's warmed up. You should plan these things. Or play them slower. John Fahey approach. Improvised dramatically. There we have it, as the blowers come in just in time. See you next week.